Hey guys, we're going to soon cover of a total 6 women who cover each division and slash or promotion, who were the strongest in each one. Tune in, we're going to cover it at the Pink Square Circle here. Hey guys, we're here at the Pink Square Circle. We'll talk about the leaders of the women's divisions. We will talk about each of these women here who did great in the better half of 2024, how they held down their divisions. Get the likes as we come into the Pink Square Circle. We are going to talk about it. Now, we are going to go over the names of the women that did well in this past year. We'll talk about Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, Nia Jax, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Toni Storm. So we'll go over the rundown of each woman and what they did. And like I said before, this is the better half of 2024. We're not talking about right now 2025. We're talking most of last year of how they did in their divisions or brand. But let's go down the list, shall we? First off, we will go over Monday Night Raw. Now, for the women's division, when it comes down to Monday Night Raw of this past year, 2024, who held it down? It was no other than Liv Morgan, who was clearly on her revenge tour. She did her thing. She was the women's world champion for most of that year. She was on a revenge tour against Rhea Ripley. We know those two had a rivalry that went back because we have to remember Liv Morgan was taken out by Rhea Ripley in the past. And Liv Morgan was on to take everything from Rhea Ripley. The Judgment Day, her championship, Dominik Mysterio, you name it. She did everything she could to accomplish that feat. And you know what she did? She started off by first taking out Rhea Ripley, causing her to vacate her Women's World Championship. So we had to get a new champion since Rhea had to vacate her belt. And Becky Lynch did win the belt, but she lost it to Liv Morgan at King and Queen of the Ring PLE back in May of last year. With the help of Dominik Mysterio, inadvertently helped Liv win that title. But she didn't stop there. That was just the beginning. You gotta remember, she took over the Judgment Day. Since then, they did their thing. You know, we had Judgment Day draped up in tag team gold once again. JD McDonough and Finn Balor. And she even helped Ray become a victim to Dominik Mysterio. She helped Dom beat his father in a match on an episode of Monday Night Raw. And then also, too, we had a brand new form of Judgment Day. We had Liv Morgan, Carlito, later the addition of Raquel Rodriguez, Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and, of course, Dominik Mysterio. But, you know, we know Rhea, she did eventually come back from injury. She did challenge Liv Morgan at SummerSlam for the Women's World Championship. Didn't work out in Rhea Ripley's favor as Dominik Mysterio would double-cross Rhea Ripley, kiss Liv Morgan. They say he went from heel to super heel, Dominik Mysterio, that is. But he just clearly turned on her. He got tired of how Rhea treated him. And, of course, Liv and Dominik Mysterio will walk out of SummerSlam. She's still the Women's World Champion, leaving Rhea Ripley in sadness. Had her upset, hurt, and everything. This is when Rhea Ripley was becoming more of a babyface. And Liv Morgan continuing on. Like I said, she didn't stop there in 2024. Remember, at Crown Jewel 2024, for the first ever Women's Crown Jewel Championship, it was her going against then champion Nia Jax, the WWE Women's Champion, for that championship. And Liv Morgan became the victory. She became the victor. She got the victory. She is the first ever Crown Jewel Women's Champion. She won that. So that was a big thing for Liv. And that was a big win. Probably one of the biggest wins of her career. So she held it down. Congratulations to Liv. But let's move on, shall we? All right, let's move on to the NXT brand. And we're going to focus on the NXT Women's Championship. The NXT Women's Champion who dominated, it was the prodigy Roxanne Perez. Now, she did her thing last year. She held on to the championship for 276 days in dominating fashion. I would say Roxanne went down as one of the best NXT women's champions of all time. But let's see how she started her historic NXT women's title run. She started at last spring's NXT Stand Deliver by defeating then champion Lyra Valkyria, who was a great champion, I might add. Now, Roxanne Perez was on a vengeance. She won her second run at the NXT women's title run, as her first run did not end so well. It was only short, but this one definitely was much, much better. Now, her run was definitely something to remember. She defended her title at NXT Great American Bash. She defeated Thea Hale of then Chase U. That was a solid match, but she wouldn't stop there. She had another dominating match, one of the most memorable ones, where she defeated then TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace, who's now a part of the NXT brand now. And also, she continued that run at NXT Heatwave, where she defeated Lola Vice. Where Lola was somewhat real close, just like Jordynne Grace was, to defeating Roxanne, but Roxanne would not take no for an answer. And she also defeated Jada Parker at NXT No Mercy back in October. Now, her biggest challenge yet after that was Julia. The arrival of Julia, she challenged Roxanne at the NXT CW debut. Now, she did defeat Julia back in NXT CW debut, but she will ultimately lose the championship at NXT New Year's Evil at the beginning of 2025. But all of 2024, it was the year of the Prodigy. Let's move on to another brand. We are going to move on to SmackDown. Now, SmackDown definitely was something unique as well. Again, the King and Queen of the Ring was a memorable moment, not just for Liv Morgan. King and Queen of the Ring was also a memorable PLE for Nia Jax. Nia Jax was crowned, Women's World Champion later on, obviously, but the way she won this championship, she won the Women's Championship. She started off by winning King and Queen of the Ring. Now, she won this whole tournament by Lyra Valkyria in the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. She did defeat Lyra Valkyria after Annihilator, and she went on to become the Queen of the Ring. Now, what's unique about King and Queen of the Ring last year, whoever won this match will get an opportunity at the championship of their respective brand. She will go on to challenge then WWE Women's Champion Bayley at SummerSlam, the party of the summer they used to call it, if they still call it that. She will go on to defeat Bayley to become the WWE Women's Champion. And this would be Nia's second run with the championship. This championship, she definitely it was big for her. Nia was a different new Nia. She wasn't the same Nia she was, botching everything, what people were saying about her. Much more smoother Nia. Now, she will go on to start an alliance with then Money in the Bank winner, Tiffany Stratton. They ran through SmackDown, had a great storyline, Tiffany and Nia running through people, Nia holding Tiffany down, Tiffany holding Nia down. But it eventually came to a halt when Nia saw Tiffany as a threat to the championship. She was mistreating Tiffany Stratton, and we saw the storyline, and the crowd really got behind Tiffany Stratton. Now, ultimately, Nia Jax will go on to lose the WWE Women's Championship in 2025 against Tiffany Stratton, who cashed in on her. But for most of 2024, she did good. Her championship reign, it ended at 153 days. So Nia Jax, she had a very good run with the title. So I think she did very well. But let's move on. We're going to move on to tag team division. Now, when it comes to the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships and the tag team division for that matter, one team that dominated like no other in 2024, we are talking about the team of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Now, we know Jade Cargill had just arrived at WWE late 2023. She wouldn't start wrestling until a few months later. But these two, they definitely a dominating team. They both got the strength, muscle, and power. They did team up with Naomi for the Big Threes, they call it, for WrestleMania 40. They won that match, and they was looking good on that. And, all three girls were happy, but it wouldn't stop there. Now, we had Bianca and Jade. They dominated. They would go on to win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships at Backlash France back in May, defeating the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. Now, they only held it for 42 days, but they would get another opportunity to win, and they did win. They won that championship at Bash at Berlin in August. They had it for 177 days. Now, we do know the whole story of Jade Cargill being taken out, Naomi stepping up, but other than that, they still had great competition. They beat the teams of Jakara Jackson, Lash Legend, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. They had great competition to defend these titles against, and I'm talking about Jade and Bianca. And also, they did, of course, beat the champs that they did beat, which was Io and Kairi Sane. And they also defeated other teams of sort as well, like the Unholy Union. So they had a very good run, very good run. And not only had a very good run with the tag team belts for the second run, they also was named the 2025 Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill Women's Tag Team of the Year. If you guys did not know that, they were voted the best tag team of the whole wrestling industry, not just WWE, but everybody. So everyone voted that. A lot of people have said that they were the tag team of the year, and they were. Who could stop Bianca and Jade? No one could stop them. They were very hard to beat when it came to competition. Now, they did lose the belt once, but once they got a second time, before Jade was taken out, Jade and Bianca was unstoppable. And now we know where the storyline is going. Since Jade has returned, we know there's rivalry going on between Jade, Naomi, Bianca. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But other than that, these women dominated through 2024. Now, last but not least, let's move on to another promotion. We are going to move on to AEW, All Elite Wrestling. Now, before I do go on to who dominated for the women's division of 2024, I'm going to take time out to give an honorable mention. That will be to Mercedes Moné. She has 4 belts now, but in 2024, she only had 2 belts. I'll give her credit. She won 2 belts. She made an impact, but she did not dominate the whole women's division. Now, that's my opinion. I would say Toni Storm, that award goes to her. Toni Storm in late 2023 started the whole new character, Timeless Toni Storm. And with this character change, she did challenge then champion Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's World Championship at Full Gear pay-per-view in November of 2023. But this is when Toni won the championship. Even though I mentioned 2023, this started her long run. And she did, of course, do her thing. She won that title, and it was a record breaking that time, 3-time title Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's Championship. 2024, it was Toni's year. She defended the championship against Deonna Purrazzo at AEW Revolution back in March of 2024. So that was a solid feud. She wouldn't stop there. She also defended championship at AEW Dynasty in April against Thunder Rosa. That was another match she defended title against. And another title defense she had after that was at AEW Double or Nothing against Serena Deeb. So she just kept going and going and going. Now, Forbidden Door, this was one of her more interesting matches, was against Mina Shirakawa, if I said her name correctly. This is when it started to have friction between Toni and Mariah to see whose side she was on. Now, shortly after she defended the championship against Mina, this is when Mariah May turned on Toni Storm during the Owen Hart Cup tournament, which Mariah did win to get an opportunity to face Toni Storm at AEW's All In, the premier event of the year for the AEW Women's World Championship. Now, Toni would go on to lose the championship against Mariah May. She held on to the championship for 281 days. But other than that, this was the hottest feud of the women's division in AEW. They held it down. So these are all the women that I described in 2024 who were very dominant in their division or brand or promotion. And I give honor and I give much respect to these women. They put in all hard work last year. You know, they did their thing. They made women's wrestling definitely something to be taken seriously of. And that's all I have for the leaders of the women's divisions. You guys let me know what you think of these 6 women that I spoke about. If there's more you want to mention in 2024, leave the comment section below. Until then, guys, I will see you later. Check out the content here as well.